Hi everyone, welcome. What I've got out here on the bench are my African night crawlers. It's my newest worm system, 12 days old, and I've got a few things lined up over here for them already. Moisture, I know they're going to need moisture. I could tell it was pretty light when I lifted it up. I got food. The system's never been fed yet, so they've been in here for 12 days without any food. Got some food for them, even grit in that little container over there next to the food and water. So the worms were put into this new bedding over here, but the castings that they inhabited in their old system were held on to over here. And then here we initiated what we refer to as a cocoon nursery, because when I was processing this migration of the worms, man oh man did I see lots of cocoons in here. So we're going to get these guys fed. We're going to make sure everything is stable within the cocoon nursery. So I'm going to put on that glove and we're going to get to work. Uh-oh. Well, I guess putting the cocoon nursery into this paper bag was a mistake, because now I've got a much worse insect situation than I thought I had. Oh, brother. All right, well, we're not setting it back up this way when we're done. That's for sure. All right, let's get this thing disassembled and get to work on this thing. And you know, we haven't even removed the plastic yet, so this is scary. Hopefully the worst is behind us already. What an adventure. Note to self, don't do that again. Okay, this is pretty good, you know. I had put well, not everything is good. Here's a, geez Louise. Looks just like jerky. So I guess the whole idea here was to allow this material to begin losing a little bit of its moisture, because it seemed just too clumpy and kind of weird. It never got to the state where it would start crumbling the way nice castings should. But the worms I removed from here that we launched that new system with 12 days ago all seemed happy and healthy within this material. I thought I was going to start picking through this stuff and finding dead worms all over the place, but, we're finding dead worms here and there. But I don't smell any weird foul odor, so a couple dead worms on the surface might not be the end of the world. Now, I know we're here waiting for cocoons to hatch, but I also have to assume that a good number of straggler worms, slip through as well. So besides waiting on the hatching of a bunch of cocoons, we're also expecting that there's going to be some worms in here as well. This wasn't the type of material that you could easily sort through, because it wasn't siftable or anything like that, but I did get the sense that I had removed the great number of the worms that lived in it. And it's so weird, because even now I feel like there's really nothing wrong with it. It definitely feels exceedingly damp, but it also feels like if it were to dry out a little bit, it would feel fine. Almost makes me want to just leave it out. No covers, nothing, not even a sheet of paper. Just let the stuff start flash drying, whatever. If there's a few cocoons that start becoming a little bit dry in the process and are delayed in their hatching, it's only a delay. It's not like it's going to prevent them from hatching. I think cocoons can outlive most harsh conditions and continue on to a successful hatching, once things turn up. So it's a pretty dark cocoon there on my fingertip. I tell you, I was going through this stuff, there was just so many cocoons everywhere. I'm still thinking, if drying is the aim here, then, leaving it uncovered is probably the best bet, but not knowing how long it's going to take for these cocoons to start to hatch, and then even then, the baby worms need a little time to grow in size before you can start trying to round them up or whatever. So it does seem to me like maybe keeping the plastic covering on just the way it was, so the moisture stays just the way it is the best bet. And maybe I've just got to put out some countermeasures like diatomaceous earth on the plastic on top to possibly catch any invading insects that might be coming over here for the moisture or for whatever it is that's attracting them. Alright, but that's really all I wanted to do in here, is check out how things look, and they look just the way they did when we left it 12 days ago, fortunately. So I can't complain. If we do leave this thing as is, then the moisture will continue to be pretty good, I think. You know, we don't have to have the thing completely covered. We'll just bring it cinched in again, you know, kind of the way we found it. It was cinched in with the plastic not going edge to edge, just kind of brought in a little bit from the outer edge to allow for a little bit of evaporation and airing out. I guess that'll be our trap. The flying insects will sense the moisture, they'll want to go for it. I mean, they're already used to being in this stuff, so they're just going to be trying to get back home. But I'm going to lay out a trap. Perhaps I'll find an old salt shaker one day, but in the meantime I'm improvising. So I thought right around the edge of the plastic. Stuff's got the consistency of like powdered sugar or flour. And then I'm thinking right along the edge of the rim of the container too. I'm making a little bit of a mess here on the bench, but we'll sweep up afterwards. Maybe here on the paper too. Once the paper dries, it'll also become a good trap. Alright, see how that goes. Interesting. And we've even got a little bit left over here. I've got another place that I had thought about using the stuff, so maybe I'll go sprinkle a little bit over there too. Not bad. I like the way this works. We're done with this for now. Let's get the worm bin out here. It's a good thing that I replenished my pre-made little supply of bedding here. Let's check out what the foods are. It's got a good amount of weight to it. It's a lot of stuff. Coffee, rice, and even something out of the ordinary here, polenta. I think it's corn, like a corn meal mush type stuff, which, as you can see, got invaded by mold. And I was thinking I might try something that I've seen other people do, is just place it into the system with the plastic and let the worms clean out the plastic. I could easily remove the plastic right now, but I just figured as a novelty, let's do it that way. And as another novelty, why don't we just take these, oops, oh geez, I'm spilling my coffee already. My idea was just to sort of place these in here very haphazardly, kind of like you're just heading off to work and dumping a few things out into your compost barrel outside, so you're not trying to blend it in or do anything fancy. All you're doing is just pitching it in and let the worms do the work. So a little contrary to what you normally see me talking about, which is always wanting to blend all my coffee in, here we're deliberately just piling it in. So we'll see how it goes. So this to me almost seems like a feeding test, like a haphazard feeding test, because obviously if you want the worms to work their way through their feeding quickly, you blend it, you maximize the material's surface area. This is almost like the opposite. To just pile the stuff in like this means they can access the outer surface of it, you know, whatever's on top, but whatever's down at the bottom has to wait, you know, until what's covering it has been depleted. So I got a feeling that the food supply in here is probably going to last for a while. But you know, I've been proven wrong before. Probably makes better sense not to make predictions on what's going to happen in my bins, because it's always a crapshoot. Alright, so now, really quick, nice new bin like this could probably use a good dousing with some grit. So we'll make sure that this comes in good amounts. Got a little bit left here. And not that we're going to use it, I think that's plenty. I also have my fancy schmancy water bottle all pumped up and ready to go. So even though we've kind of blended in the dry stuff, it's, you know, a little bit dry in here, you know. It wasn't bad over in the middle, but now we've blended a lot of dry stuff into that stuff. So I think just overall in general we're going to be reducing the moisture level in here. And you know, if you look at the foods that they just received, those are not the sort of foods that you would consider to be really juicy and full of fluids and moisture. This is not a type of feeding that you can count on for bringing a good amount of moisture in there. So here I believe that this application with the squirt bottle is pretty key. All right, And the only thing remaining now is to cover up with some of our nice fresh bedding. So I don't think we need a whole lot, perhaps a handful or two, just to cover up our feeding area. I like to be generous with the bedding. In a system like this, we've certainly got room to spare, so we can bring in as much as we like. I don't want to use up it all. I'm not going to use it all up here, but we will add at least a few handfuls, as we will in most situations. Keep expanding to the size of the system. Keep giving the worms that feeling like they've got plenty of room to spread out and multiply. So I think we're more or less done here. We've checked in on the nursery and it seems to be doing fine. And we're doing away with the paper bag because we don't need to see the flying insect situation happening any further. And I hope the diatomaceous earth application works. I think it will. I think it's going to work quite nicely. Now here, what do? Do we expand the coverage? Do we allow it to dry again the way it did? It doesn't seem to add any benefits. So why don't we go with the option to cover up pretty thoroughly. Let the system hang on to as much moisture as it can everywhere, making the entire contents of the bin hospitable for worm traffic rather than just the middle. That makes a lot more sense. All right, everyone, I got a couple things I've got to put away and clean up before I finish here, but I'm not going to keep you around for that because that's boring. Before I go, though, let me really quickly say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. Channel memberships are an option too, so if you want to support the channel, that's something to consider as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.